am Del Harris, the new Executive Officer of Team Richmond Garner Road AAU. We are excited to launch a new initiative, the Fox Sports Hopewell 96.9 Team Richmond Garner Road Alumnus of the Month Spotlight. This is something that we'll bring to you every month. We're excited about our tradition, and this is a way several great AAU organizations around the country, around the area, and you see the list of alumni on the website, but this is a way to appreciate our tradition, appreciate our history. Organization started in 2001, but we want to bring it to life. And today our first guest, a young man I've known for a long time, I guess not a young man now, a grown man, but Olu Dorton. Thank you for doing this.
No problem, Coach.
Awesome. Well, again, just want to start off with what years did you play Team Richmond Garner Road?
Team Richmond Garner Road was, I started playing in 2003, 2004. I remember that was my first AU experience, and then also that followed my first high school basketball experience. So I really piggybacked off of that, and then Team Richmond offered a lot for me. It was great.
And elaborate a little bit on that team. I know you had some of the guys you played with. I know Coach Alex, I remember him back in the day, a young coach, hard worker. I know he meant a lot to you, but just elaborate a little bit more on your Team Richmond experience and maybe some of your teammates or some fond memories.
Okay, some of my teammates, Drew Shimbob, we had Brett James, he played at Elon.
Sure.
We had Chris Harris that played at Collegiate, and went on to play for the Navy.
Benedictine.
I'm sorry, Benedictine.
That's how you're good. He can shoot it. He can fill it up.
Shoot. We had quite a few players. Myself, we had Nick Bird that played with us a couple of games from Matoka. We had, we had a lot of players that came through. Reggie Williams played with us 2 or 3 games, especially when we went to the Nationals.
Gotcha.
Orlando.
Gotcha.
Honestly.
And any fond memories of just in the car ride or in the gym, practice, in the hotel?
I remember running a lot of suicides.
Okay, all right.
A lot of sprints.
Still do that?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
We had a team full of comedians, especially Brett James. Shout out to Brett James, but yeah.
That's awesome.
We ran a lot.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's one of the valuable things about AAU. Sometimes it's just bigger than basketball. It's the off-the-court stuff, the relationships that you build. And, I remember that team at the time, Team Richmond, we had a team and a B team, but really it was our team. There were several talented scholarship players on that team, as you mentioned, Chris Harris and, of course, Brett James, and then, Drew Shimbob, UVA. So definitely a big-time team. Tell us now, I know you had quite the high school story. I think you started late, Meadowbrook standout, but just tell us, I think you grew a little bit.
Yep. All right, so ironically, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, never made the basketball team.
Okay, you hear that, young people? Never made it.
I tried out, but never made it. So that summer going into my senior year, I ended up losing quite a bit of weight. I was 300 pounds before then. I dropped down to 260 because of the joint wrestling team.
Sure.
So going into the senior year, coach, we sat down and we talked, and he said, I can get you a jersey if you can lose the weight and you can show me that you can develop.
That's awesome.
So I spent that whole summer, and I actually grew 6 inches that summer. So yeah, everything changed within that summer. It was pretty cool.
That's an awesome story, man. That's you guys are 5'9", 5'10" out there. It can happen to you in high school. Wish it would have happened to me. But anyway, but now that's an awesome testament to you. And then I love for young people to have a conversation with your coach. Here are the goals. Here are the short-term goal, and that coach gave you a short-term goal, and obviously you achieve success with that. And then on to playing the MEAC, Norfolk State, the green and gold. Behold the green and gold, I think that's what they say.
Behold.
Okay, all right. Tell us, how'd you get there, and how about that and your experience at Norfolk State?
All right, so short story, I ended up going to Virginia Antioch College first.
Okay.
My freshman year.
Okay.
NAIA, located in Bristol, Virginia. So I got there, and I was comfortable with the system, but I wasn't comfortable with the challenge that I had.
I like that.
I always wanted to be a D1 basketball player.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time just working on my grades and working on my skill. So it was a lot of downtime where I was in the gym by myself. Within that year, I remember after I left, got back to Richmond, and then I remember taking a trip. It was a random trip to Norfolk State. And so I ended up meeting Coach Evans at the time. He was the assistant coach under Coach Freeman.
He took him to the NCAA tournament.
And so I remember meeting him, and then we kind of talked. He was like, okay, well, what are your goals? What do you want to do? For me, academics was very important. So I know I wanted to play pro ball, but I also wanted to have a backup plan. So we talked, and it's not usual that coaches will give you the chance to choose what you want to do as far as academics go, because you need the time in the gym. But for me, we talked, so I did engineering. So he offered that to me, and then he said, okay, well, let's get to it. So that's how I ended up at Norfolk State. Gave me a chance, and I just ran with it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, again, in engineering, that's no easy major. I love how you said that academics were very important to you. And then kind of fast forwarding a little bit to what you're doing now. I know you're involved in the community, and I know you played some professional ball as well. So kind of post Norfolk State and then to where you are now.
Okay. Well, post Norfolk State, basketball never stops. It's going to be here forever, especially in my life. So after Norfolk State, I ended up going on the circuit, pro European circuit. So I started off in Peru, played there for 3 months. Then I ended up in, I think I went to China for a little bit, and then I ended in Spain. And that was the longest contract I had. It was a beautiful experience. But everything that I learned from, of course, Team Richmond from Norfolk State, and then going forward, I was able to build off of that. But it wasn't all about basketball, like bigger than basketball, like you said. So it was a skill set that I learned about the hard work. Get tired with suicides, but I know I have to study. Well, then now going into my professional career as an engineer, I get to travel quite a bit. I still do what I love, but it's still the same concepts. You get tired, you got to keep pushing. And then, of course, me and my son, he's watching me, so that pushes me even more. So you never know who's watching. You never know what's going to come next, but you just have to keep pushing.
Well, one, I just appreciate the man you become, a proud father, a proud role model, and your story is very important for the young people. And any advice out there, one thing, even before I get into that, I remember I was a coach on another team, and so it was 2 17 teams, and that's something that we're getting back to having 2 teams at every age group that are very competitive, and we really don't, it does not matter the team, because we are one organization trying to encourage everybody. And I remember, seeing you in those games and how you develop. And so, again, bigger than basketball, just a relationship. I wasn't your coach, but I was part of the organization, and how we formed a relationship, whether that's working Tyrese Rice camps. I know you work out a lot of guys with your skill development program. And again, I just admire and very proud of what you're doing. But please tell us what some advice for the young people out there. You are a true essence of a student athlete and a success story from this Richmond area.
Okay, I guess some advice, the biggest advice, all right, I always tell the students that I work with that, number one, it's like tiers to it. It's easy, and then there's challenge, and then there's super challenge, right? Sure. So easy is pick something that you want to do, and stick with it. Sure. So if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a basketball player, if you want to be a baseball player or a musician, whatever it is, just pick that. That's the easy part. Yeah. The second level, I guess, tier 2, the challenge is having the discipline to pursue it. Yeah. That's tough. So you have to stick with it, because it's easy to pick something, you get into it, it gets challenging, and then you just want to give up. You have to have the discipline to stick with it.
That's tough for adults.
These are
early young people.
That's a life lesson.
That's great, man.
And the super challenge, I never say too hard, because the moment you say too hard, don't do it. Sure. Because that's not true. Sure. It's just you have to stick with it. The third challenge is, I would say, having the discipline that builds from the second level, knowing what you chose to do as the first level, applying those to the last, and not being caught up in the journey itself of the challenges, because you have to be able to weather the storm.
Sure.
Because there's going to be things that come up. You're going to have friends, you're going to lose friends, you're going to move from this team to another team, maybe. Whatever life throws at you, you have to be able to push through that. And those are tools that you develop, so now you circle back to, that was my goal and I reached my goal. It's never a straight line, but it's possible. You just have to really focus on it.
That's awesome.
So that's the advice I would give. Just stick with it and be ready for what's to come, but stay positive and have the right people around you.
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you for your time, man. This means a lot, coming from the top of the organization, and we're proud of you. Again, student athlete, a proud father, successful in the community, and wasn't too much talk about basketball. So again, that's one of our missions here at Team Richmond Garner Road, is we want to develop the whole student athlete, high character, high integrity. Basketball is easy. You know, you can pick up a basketball and run up down the court anywhere, but put in the hard work and the life lessons that you shared. So I really appreciate it, man. Continue to do the good work. Thank you so much. And please stay tuned. This was the first one, September. The Team Richmond Garner Road, Fox Sports, Hopewell 96.9, alumnus of the month. So be ready for next month, October. And again, have a great rest of the month. We appreciate you tuning in, and stay tuned. Thank you.